YouTube, and welcome back to Tamara's Tarot and Oracle channel. I have a very exciting deck that I can't wait to share with you. It's a deck that I just received a couple days ago. I actually ended up doing an unboxing and that video didn't work out, unfortunately, so had to kind of scrap that, but that's okay. I still wanted to share this deck with you because I think it's such a cool deck and such an intriguing deck, and a deck that I'm not sure if everyone knows about. So hopefully after I share this with all of you, you will have captured a glimpse of the, ready for this? Rohrig Tarot. Ta-da! I hope I said it right. I think he is a German artist. And his work is very avant-garde, surrealism, modern, just really the best ways that I can think of to describe his art. And I found this online and I was very intrigued. And so I kept looking at more and more images, and I finally decided, okay, I'm going to order this deck. Now, this particular deck that I have in my hand is a ripoff of the original. This one was very cheap. It was about $30 Canadian, I want to say. I think that included everything, shipping and handling. And I didn't really mind, like I knew it wasn't like the original because it was cheap, it was on sale, and yeah. So this is the smaller size. Now there's a larger size and of the original, whether it's the German edition or the US edition, that I'm soon to get my hands on. I said to myself I wasn't going to, but well. So I received this a couple days ago, and I have to say I am very pleasantly surprised, and I am going to show you what's inside. So let me just read the back for you very quickly. This is the front. So as you can see, that kind of surrealism type art, very avant-garde, as I had mentioned, very modern, very intriguing. So the world-renowned artist Carl W. Rohrig has created a fascinating cosmos of magical, mystical images for these unique tarot cards. He succeeded in transforming ancient archetypes into symbols from our modern world. These cards lead the viewer into a universe of inspiration and imagination, providing guidance for his or her own path with daily problems. But even for those who simply appreciate the inspiring beauty of magical, mystical art, the Rohrig Tarot is their first choice, a tarot game and work of art in one. So that's what the box looks like, just a regular tuck box, kind of like a laminate type feel finish. Okay, I'll just show you. Nothing too exciting, really. I wanted to also read you a little synopsis off of eclectictarot.com. Highly recommend eclectictarot.com or .net, it's called, because you can just find just about any and every tarot deck that's out there. Not every, but for the most part, it's a pretty useful plethora of knowledge and wonderful tarot wisdom, like a smorgasbord. And I like that. So it's really great. So if I have any questions, I just type it in and then I can see some pictures and some reviews sometimes. Not every deck has a review written. You can always be the first to write a review if you have the deck yourself. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So the Rohrig Tarot is a sexy, glossy tarot deck that has been thoroughly modernized. Now, I don't have the sexy, glossy tarot deck. This was a ripoff, as I had just mentioned, and it was very reasonably priced, and I knew it wasn't the real thing, but I just wanted to get my hands on it to sort of see if it was my thing or not. The Chariot shows a Formula One motor racing car, so that's how modernized it is. An overall artwork is beautifully done and finely detailed. There are two versions of the deck, the US edition and an earlier German edition with uncovered nudity. There's also a Spanish edition, which is also, that's more censored. So the German edition is the uncensored edition. Now, when I say that, there's nudity in all of the editions. But there's a little bit more nudity in the German edition where females, privates, or down Netherlands, down there, and the hangman's stuff are you're easily able to see. So that's the German version. But if you want something a little bit more modest and a little bit more censored, then you would go for the US version or even the Spanish version, I believe. Now, when I say there's nudity in all the versions, regardless, there's a lot of boobs, a lot. And I am okay with nudity. It does not offend me. As long as it's not gratuitously done, I think if it's tasteful and purposeful and everything else, then, and I feel like I find the female form quite beautiful in art. I am very drawn to women in art. I'm drawn to people in art overall in general. And, but sometimes I feel like throughout these cards, and I'm going to show you in a moment, it's a little unnecessary because there's just boobs everywhere. So for those of you who love boobs, this is like, you've died and gone to heaven, I guess. But for me, it's like, okay, is that really necessary? So I have the uncensored version. So this is a ripoff of it's in English though, but I imagine the German version, which is completely uncensored and everything just shows. Everything's, out in the open. So yeah, and I knew that buying it. So, I mean, I didn't really know too much of the difference, which cards had been modified and whatever. But once you get into a deck, when you become obsessed enough, like I have, you start to sort of pick apart and see the little differences between all the different editions and versions and copies and everything, and drive yourself nuts like I have and am still doing. So these are in no particular order. They have been shuffled. It didn't come in order. I wanted to make sure that all the cards were there and none were missing. So I did end up putting them in order and was happy that all were there, all 78. So these are the back. Now in even the smaller or the larger size, the glossy, like the original. Remember, this is not the original. This is a ripoff what I got off of eBay, I believe. There's a white border, which I don't really care for. There's no copyright, which is nice, but in the original, it's completely like it's galactical or whatever it's supposed to be. That kind of scene is the entire back without the white border. I love this deck because I'm drawn to cool colors. There's a lot of blues and purples and greens even throughout the deck, which I find quite appealing. There are some cards that have warmer colors, reds and oranges and yellows, and that's nice too, but overall the color palette is that of a cooler tone and cooler colors rather, sorry. Just have to shift. And yeah, so let's get started. I'm going to show you, I didn't even mention anything about the little white book, by the way. Terrible. This is the little white book. I read it. It looked like there was more in it than there actually is. There is a book that comes with this deck, like not comes with it, although I don't know if you can buy the two together, but there is a book that does accompany the type of deck that this is, if that makes sense. Yes. So yeah, the book's okay. It's not just keywords. They are proper sentences. I was kind of hoping that some of the symbolism or any of the symbolism would be mentioned perhaps in the book that is made for this deck rather, has all that. You can certainly research on your own, but it's more to do with the overall meaning. Now, this is based on the Thoth system. I am more of a Rider-Waite girl. I don't mind Marseille. That's kind of cool too. I mean, I have a couple of decks. I do tend to sway more towards Rider-Waite, but I'm really intrigued by the Thoth system, and it's all very similar. It's just a slightly different perspective, but I'm beginning to really enjoy it. So I'm not saying that I'm going to run out and get a Thoth deck just yet. It's so funny saying that word, Thoth. Or is it Toth? I feel like I'd rather call it Thoth because it just sounds better. Anyway, I'm going off again. Yeah, so, but maybe one day when I've become more comfortable with really delving into a new system. So that's what this one's based on, the Thoth system. So if you are absolutely new to tarot, start off with a Rider-Waite. I highly recommend. You can get a Rider-Waite deck online for like $10, $15, $20, like not a lot. And, you know, any copy will do just to get you, you know, familiar with the archetypes and the suits and the meanings and some of the symbolism and all that, just so you can kind of gain some kind of insight and perspective into the tarot. And I personally believe that the Rider-Waite system is the easiest. And I say that because the Marseille is less scenic, not that it isn't scenic, but I think that with more of a picture on all the minor arcana, it's better for a beginner to grasp. It's certainly easier for them to grasp the meanings and that, and then they can delve into the other systems. But quite honestly, it's whatever your preference is, whatever you feel comfortable doing, and maybe you prefer to start off with a more Marseille, or that's sort of your first, you know, exposure to tarot, and you're a little bit intrigued and think, well, maybe I'll just stick with that and get to know that, and then maybe go from there. You know, whatever works for you. There's certainly no rhyme or reason. It's all personal preference. But just from my experience, my very first deck was the Zerner Farber, which is, I think, a bit based on the Thoth system. Like, it's not really Rider-Waite. And I didn't really realize that until like recently. And I've had that deck since I was, oh gosh, like over 15 years. Over 15 years? No, maybe not that long. What am I, 36? Yeah, so maybe a little less than 15 years. But I've had that deck for a long time and only realized recently that, you know, but whatever works for you, that's what you do. And that's my little bit of my advice. Anyway, I'm just looking outside. It looks like it's about to pour, and I just watered my garden. Grr. So let's start off with now in the Thoth system, it is princess, prince, queen, and knight. Knight is the king. So that just takes a little bit of getting used to. So this is the Knight of Discs. He's really cool, right? Like, look at his face. I'm very attracted to the faces in tarot cards when they're so detailed, and the line work. And I mean, this is like a photo. This is supposed to be like airbrushed art, and like a collage, a mishmash put together. Really cool. Really, really cool. So that is the Knight of Discs. This is the Two of Pentacles. Sorry, I'm just clearing around my computer. Now, there are keywords on the minor arcana, and that doesn't bother me. And some of the keywords are a little bit obscure, but when you become more familiar with the Thoth system and you understand the meaning of that card, you're able to better interpret it, obviously. So there is the Two of Pentacles. I just love these quartz. The Prince of Discs. So discs is pentacles. Really cool, very Romanesque looking. Okay. Prudence is the Eight of Discs. So the Eight of Pentacles. So that I note to be craftsmanship in the Rider-Waite system, right? Really taking all your focus and dedication and harnessing it into something that you're very passionate about and turning it into something that is going to be lucrative and something that you can be admired for and acknowledged for all that great energy and effort and hard work that you've put into it and into creating and making it into something truly magical. There you go. I don't want to spend too long. This is pleasure. So this is Six of Cups, which I was a little confused about at first because I know that to be, you know, harmony and joy, nostalgia, and all the rest. But like I said, once you get used to it, once you read the little white book, I'll show you the little white book in a second. Like when I'm done showing you the cards, I'm a little bit all over the place and backwards. The Hierophant, not my favorite card in the deck. And it also shows you astrological signs, the runes, which I'm not too familiar with, and the Hebrew letters. I learned the Hebrew letters when I was a little girl. I can't remember all of them. So I'm going to have to do some research and yeah. The Devil. There's the first boob that I wasn't sure how necessary it was, but I mean, it's the Devil, so I could see that. Strength, my birth card. I love lions. It's beautiful. There's the Leo sign. The Hermit. Oh, my arm's getting tired. I'll hold one card up at a time. That makes more sense. So this is the Five of Discs, worry. And certainly the Five of Discs energy, otherwise known as the Five of Pentacles, is much about loss of faith, maybe a decline in health, loss in finance, just basically you're kind of a down and out card, creates anxiety and worry. So it all does tie in together. So strength, they've named 9 of Wands strength. Ooh, it's getting dark outside. And it's only 5:35. It's great. It stays light till like 9 o'clock. So it's amazing. So yeah, hanging in there until you've completed your task. I love the Queen of Cups. What I'm about to show you is one of the reasons why I bought this deck. Ta-da! Look at all those blues. A little bit of green, splash of green here and there. Purpley, yeah, but mostly blue. Blue's my favorite color, / purple. And whoops. Yeah, she's great. Wealth, 10 of discs. So that we know it to be pretty much the same in the Rider-Waite system. Protection, security, legacy. So some of the minors are a little less, well, I shouldn't even say less scenic. I should just say that there aren't really people in them as much, but there still are quite a few people throughout the deck. And I would definitely say that this is a lot more of a people-orientated deck than not. So this is the Tower. I like the different layers in the collage work. Okay, I'm just gonna bypass a few that I just really want to show you the people. This is Judgment, one of my favorite cards. I like how they've paid homage to the Rider-Waite Judgment card. I think that's great. So these artists, you know, I guess they took Rohrig, Carl W. Gosh, what is it? Carl W. Rohrig's work, and they created a tarot deck out of it. My understanding. Look at the Princess of Discs. This is another reason why I bought this deck. She's beautiful. One with the earth. I love that. So, you know, fertile. The Emperor. He looks like an old-fashioned movie star. I asked my mom who he reminds her of, and she couldn't quite put her thumb on it, but yeah, he just does. He looks very regal. I like him as the Emperor. Queen of Discs. There's a boob. But Queen of Pentacles is very sensual and sexual, and you know, it's all about pleasurable earthly comforts and things like that. So I think that works. Oh wow, it is definitely going to pour. The Prince of Swords. He is one of my favorite Prince of Swords I have ever seen. Look at him. Look how fierce he looks. Really cool with the chain and really cool. The Prince of Wands. I just really enjoy the different symbolism. Sorry, I just had like a blank there. The different images that they've chosen and how they've sort of woven them together. Okay, let's just look at the Magus, the Magician. Really cool. The Moon. The Moon's not my favorite moon, but it's okay. Here's the Chariot that I read about off eclectictarot.net. Race car driver, Formula One race car driver. Ace of, oops, I went flying away. Ace of Discs. I think it's about creating your own opportunities from what I read in the book, which I really liked. I like this take on it. Instead of these opportunities coming to you, you go out there and you seek that reward. So it's sort of getting up there on that mountaintop and facing the world head on and having the courage and the motivation to do so, you know, which I really like. Getting tired. Let's just Justice. Oh my gosh, my left foot and leg is completely asleep. Ace of Wands. I like this one. The Four of Pentacles, or Four of Discs. It's also, it mentioned about it's really hard to let go. And I really like this interpretation. Sometimes we hold on to things that are no longer serving us. And sometimes they even define who we are, and we can't allow that to happen. We need to have the power to be strong enough to override those things and overcome those things. So I really like what they said about that in the Little White Book. The Star, that mental power, just that healing and that inspiration. I like that. The Hanged Man in all his glory. I don't know if you can see that. So this is the uncensored version. So the censored version, he's wearing a loincloth or whatever, or underwear. I don't know what you want to call it. So he's covered up. That's kind of funny. The Queen of Swords is another reason why I bought this deck. How great is she? Oh. Each card is a work of art. So if you are an art deck collector, this is a little different from anything you have. I mean, it doesn't appeal to everyone, as every tarot deck, you know, doesn't necessarily always appeal to everyone, but this one's really out there. It's very different. So it is an acquired taste, and I am enjoying it. So I'm excited to get the original for Wands completion. Okay, I gotta wrap up this video. One of my favorite cards that I'd never seen the images of until I until I saw this when I got the deck in my hands, and it's the Two of Cups, love. Really focuses on self-love as well. It's not just love between you and another person, but I really like that all-encompassing love. It's a really, really pretty image. I love this Death card. Not normally my favorite card in any tarot deck, maybe a couple. The Steampunk Tarot, I really like the Death card. I can't think of another one right now, but this one is really cool. Tattooed Spirit would like this because he likes skulls. I think he would really appreciate this. I think he would like this deck, to be honest. If you follow him, he's awesome. I will link him down below. The Empress. How great is she? She looks like the Statue of Liberty. She actually looks like she's something off of a David Bowie album cover. Love it. Happiness, Nine of Cups. Okay. Ooh, Knight of Cups. I love the rose on his face, like those Romanesque sculpture looking figures. I love that. Eight of Wands, swiftness. I like that. The communication between two people. Ruin, the Ten of Swords. Very Picasso-esque / Dali. Maybe more Picasso-like, but I like that. Definitely very obscure. Ooh, Nine of Swords, cruelty. I like that one. That's another one that also swayed me to get this deck. Ready to see the Princess of Cups in all her glory? There it is. So there's actually a tan line. And in the censored version, you can see that she's wearing her, I don't know if they're bikini bottoms or underwear or whatever, but covers. So yeah, if it's not your thing, maybe aim to get the censored version. But I mean, there's nudity in both versions. So yeah, Four of Swords. Really galactical and, you know, and fantastical. I don't know how else to describe it. The Ace of Swords. The Prince of Cups. A lot of boobs in here. Can you see that? Ooh. You know what's on his mind? Ooh, the World. I really like the World. Look at that. She looks like a Titan, like not a Titan. What am I saying? Gods or goddess or I don't know. You know what I mean. If you do, I don't know. I don't even know what I mean right now. There we go. And the Fool, which was on the box cover. Okay. Not my favorite. Eight of Swords. There you go. Debauch. This is the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups. So it's about overindulging in the too many choices you have. Again, like certain words were a little bit obscure to me and confusing until I read about it. And I mean, they all tie in and it makes sense. And when you understand the meaning, then you kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So the Three of Cups, abundance. I liked what it said about the Three of Cups. Let me just quickly read that to you. Where am I looking? Okay, the Three of Cups. This is often considered to be a card of reunions, but this is not always a romantic reunion, alas. Its reunion is the broadest sense, running back into or meeting with purposely someone or something that you have been away from for some time. I did not know that about the Three of Cups, to be honest. I just looked at it as like celebration, community, people with like minds coming together to celebrate a common cause, or it could be some kind of like celebration or milestone of a wedding or the birth of a baby, but not necessarily running into someone serendipitously. Is that a word? Or purposely. Like I didn't really think of that aspect of it. And let me see. It's generally considered to be a happy reunion and upbeat card. It can also mean overindulgence or ménage à trois. Yes, or an affair or something. I've learned many new layers to a lot of the cards' meaning. So you can look forward to at least one pleasant reunion with someone or something that you have been apart from for some time. It also can mean celebration, your own or someone that you care about, such as a celebration around a new baby, wedding, or other happy occasion. Anyway, it was just a little aspect of it that I thought was interesting to me. Okay, the Ace of Cups looks a lot like a Wands card. I really like that. That's sexy to me. Okay. Whoops. The Lovers. I like that one. She looks very much like Grace Kelly. Very sensual. Okay. Ooh, look at the Queen of Wands. She looks like a Caucasian version of Grace Jones, who I love. Freaking loved her in A View to a Kill, James Bond. Man, she was awesome. Gorgeous, too. High Priestess. The Knight of Swords. I love the Knight of Wands. You know who he actually reminds me of? He reminds me of two different people. I can't pinpoint this 80s artist from way back when. Well, the 80s, obviously. But he also reminds me a little bit of the Prince from Beauty and the Beast. Right? Possibly. Temperance. Just like go with the flow. Look at the Princess of Swords. I like her. Look at that blush. That very 80s. I believe this deck came out in the early 90s, but it's like that very 80s retro vibe. And I love anything 80s and retro. Futilities. Seven of Swords. Kind of scary. Okay. Ooh. Here's another boob. This is the Ten of Cups. Makes sense in this case. The Princess of Wands, another stunning image. Look at her hair. It's a tiger. Fierce and courageous and confident and powerful and beautiful and great. All those amazing things. Okay, so that is the Rohrig Tarot. And the little white book, it's not bad. It's not exceptional. It's better than just a few keywords. It's all in English, 39 pages. And not much else to say, really. So if this artwork appeals to you, then take a look. And I mean, I wanted to familiarize myself with the deck before I decided to spend more money on one of the original versions, which is what this was taken from. Let me just comment on the cardstock. It's crap. There's really no other way to describe it, unfortunately. It is just like, what is that? You cannot even shuffle. It's next to impossible. It's just made on really cheap, I don't know what to call this really. It's like smooth, it's matte, but there is a bit of a shine. It's just really thin, cheap kind of paper. And yeah, so I'm excited to get my larger, remember there's this size, the standard size, and then a larger format. And I'm going to go for the larger one because just like I said, each card is a work of art and I love it. It's very appealing and very exciting to have as a part of my collection. So thank you everyone for watching Tamara's Tarot and Oracle channel. Let me know what you think of the Rohrig Tarot, and I hope that if you've never heard of it or seen it before, anything like it, that I have opened your mind to a whole other world of tarot. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will see everyone very soon. Take care.